talk about
All
this
right,
on
well,
a
we'll start
lot.
talking about this then. What's up, profitable stylist? We were in the middle of a very hot debate that's kind of it always catches one side or the other. Nobody's in the middle of it at all. Is if it takes you longer to do an extension, do you charge more for it? Or if it takes you less time to do an extension, do you charge less for it?
Hair extensions,
Hair
right?
extensions.
I didn't know if you were a plastic surgeon. So,
I'm a rocket scientist.
so hair extensions, right? We're going to talk about some partials, and the thing I've always said about hair extensions is the name just really you can't change it now. It's so ingrained. Hair
Hair
extension,
extensions,
making
yeah.
it longer, but you don't have to make it longer. You can extend thickness and fullness and variety of color, and that's what I've got here. Some mannequins where we're going to talk about probably the most profitable way to add hair to people's heads, but it's a shame it's called hair extensions. And so I would love to know in the comments. I want some help from the people that watch us. Why do people I don't want to word it in such a way that I encourage a certain answer, but I think that I think that from what I gather that tape ins are probably the number one most popular hair extension on the planet. More people do tape ins, and why. And then, of course, wefts have come along and are huge. And why? Why are they so popular? Why do hairdressers do the extensions that they do, or the hair extensions? And I'm kind of curious. I'm going to say my opinion, I think, right now, and you're going to say yours, and then we're going to see if some people will comment and give us theirs, because I truly think that tape ins, because of the lack of education needed. It was like, oh, just stick two pieces of tape together. I can do that. Whether they came out good or bad, I think people saw that and thought, anybody can do it. I don't need a class. I don't need to go get certified. I don't even need to do online for it. Now, they can be done wrong, as we've seen, but I think you can accidentally do tape ins right more often than most other techniques. And so then we'll get to how you can do partial heads for that and why you should. But I've got this dilemma I really want help with. And so then is it price that has anything to do with it? Or is it just ease? And to me, it's kind of like foil highlighting versus cap highlighting. Boy, you say cap highlights, and I know hairdressers watching this right now are making faces like, why would you even say that? Who does a cap highlight? Oh, that's
Well,
disgusting. It's
nowadays you
embarrassing.
can't even say foil highlighting anymore because for a while there was a whole generation of hairdressers that never learned foiling. They only learned freehand, balayage, and ombre.
Oh, see, there's always that's what I love about being old. Yes, I am old. And you know what? Nobody even did foil highlighting when I first learned how to highlight. It was all caps, and it
It
was the
was
old
and
ugly
foiling was
kind.
brand new.
But it was after the thick rubber cap. You had that thick rubber cap that you pulled through. Then you had the double layer cap you can buy at a drugstore now. And then we had the really, really thin uh, Sun Glitz, I think, came out with it first. And then Matrix had oh God, do you remember that? Was it?
I don't remember what it was called, but I remember using it. Yes,
Then they had Kaleidocolors by that you could just get at Sally's. So there
but
was a lot
see,
of
that's how it goes with extensions, though, Bernard. For
that's
the
what I'm
longest
saying.
time, everything was the chignon. You know
Yeah,
that piece that clipped in the back of the head, and then
right,
eventually it moved to bonds, and then it
right.
went to tape, then it went to, well, it's not like sew-ins and weft never existed, they were always there, but
Well, they
now
they were before that, right? So I do love the patterns that we go through, and so for me, I know that that cap highlight is like a big no-no for most hairdressers, and they're like, oh, you got to foil or freehand. And so with extensions, for a while, the hairdressers were like, no, wefts are terrible for the hair. It's got to be individual strands. You got
yeah.
to do keratin bonds. And then the eye tips came along, and it was like, oh, that's reusable. You got to use that. But then when the tape ins came along right around the same time, it was so fast and easy. Hundreds of thousands of hairdressers jumped on that because it was fast and easy. Didn't matter if it was damaging. I mean, that did. I mean, I think it matters, but most hairdressers didn't care. They just wanted to be able to add hair, give the client what they wanted kind of quickly. And then the wefts came back, blows my mind. And so I love kind of talking about the history of it and trying to figure out what extension do most hairdressers do and why. Is it price? Is it fast? Is it easy? Is it hair quality? Kind of curious. I'd like to know from some of the comments if anybody would like to say their opinions, because I really don't know.
Yeah, it just made me think of something off topic that got nothing to do with hair extensions, but there's this big argument about new user experience accessibility. And I know that's a long drawn out
I'm still processing it.
but it's like, so people that have been doing extensions for a while, when a
Yeah,
new technique or a new trend comes up, because you've already got your hands in doing the service, you're easily able to migrate over and pick up the new trends and stay up with the new trends.
okay.
But if you're never done extensions before, and like you just said, because what you just said about the tape-ins just made me think about it. Tape-ins, like you said, nobody had to, you didn't have to know anything. And you can
Right.
kind of fake that you're certified with getting there was a lot of people doing tape-ins that were never certified, never touched extensions before at all, and they start just doing it, going
Right.
off a video somewhere and figuring it out themselves.
So it's interesting you say that people that are doing can easily migrate to another technique. And it's funny because I have the opposite opinion. I feel like once people are doing a technique, they rarely change to another technique. I feel like they get comfortable in what they do. I feel like it's hard to get people to change and do something different no matter what. But when they get into something that is mildly successful or somewhat good at, they don't want to change. And I feel like that's a big reason why a lot of people still do a particular type that they do in their salon. And we might both be kind of half right on this. I don't know what the percentages are, but I know, like for my stylists, I taught them one technique. They did not want to change. I showed them another. It was a little faster and easier. They all started doing it as I had people leave and new ones came in. They did the on stage beaded extensions, and then other vendors will try to sell things to them. They don't even want to try it. They won't even do the keratin bonds anymore that we sell and have right here in house for them, because it's too easy for them to do the one they learned and they don't want to try anything else. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about which one of those is
I
actually
also
true.
think it has to do with this misconception of there's a certain extension for fine thin hair and that's better, and then there's a certain
True.
extension
That's
for
true.
normal density hair and then that's better, and then for thick hair and that extension is that better. And then people have their own personal experiences like you're mentioning, and they come across and they're like, you know what, I did this one time on this client and that worked out really well, and that's it. So this is it for
That's all I'm
everybody.
going to ever do from now on. Right.
This is-
I, right. So your boss, Darren, had challenged me one time. It was a great challenge because he said, Bernard, what can you do with just 3 packs of hair, or something that was more than 1 pack, I remember. And, it usually took it with the she hair, like about 12 to 15 packs of hair to do a full head of extensions. And he named something small. And I said, Darren, 3 packs? Let's go further. I'm always about the most and the least. So let's just challenge ourselves to the most or the least, depending on which is appropriate in the situation. And in this one, I said, why 3 packs? Why don't we say one? What's the most, the biggest we can do with the least we can buy? And so that's my challenge to you guys today. I don't care what extensions you're using, what technique you're buying from. If you're buying from, oh man, help me name all these companies I don't love. Let's just name them. What is we got our on-stage beaded extensions. I do love on-stage beaded. We've got she hair hair extensions. That we've got Bellamy Pro out there. Did you freeze, or are you Googling
no,
something?
I'm thinking really hard. So what do you got? Cinderella,
Yeah.
Cinderella,
Cinderella, Babe. You've got, what is that?
Halo,
Easy Hair Pro, Halo,
something
Hair
talk,
Extensions, Hair Talk.
hair
Yeah,
talk, great lengths.
right. So there's so many invisible stuff. What is some of the ones with the invisible word in it? There's a lot of brands out there. And what I would challenge you with, whether it's tape-ins, wefts, strands, individuals, what is the least you can buy? The least like the smallest amount of hair that you can buy. You can't buy one strand or one tape. It's usually a pack of
It's usually a
something.
pack, right?
Yeah, it's a pack of something. And so if you had that one pack, or if I look around here, I could probably like take 10 steps and grab a handful of hair from somewhere, right? Left over from a client or a video shoot, or when you were here, there might be hair laying over on the other table. I see it over there. If I just picked that up, put it on my station, and decided to try to put it on a few clients during the day, that is the most money I can make with hair. First of all, the hair's already paid for. It's already sitting there. I didn't have to buy it. Or if I bought one pack, it's the least amount of hair I can buy. So that's what this was. This was a pack of on-stage beaded strands, one pack of strands. It was going to be 25 strands. So I put 12 on one side, 12 on the other. And what it did was just thicken the sides of a lady's head. With the she hair, I would be curious if anybody can find packs of hair less than this. The keratin bonds, 10 strands. You can buy 10 strands of she hair, which was always really fun because I could put 5 here and 5 here. And I say the sides because of ears, right? The back of the head, on the back of a person's head, we've got so much hair, no matter how thick or thin it is from top to bottom. But on the side of the head, we were just doing a haircut class in my salon this morning. And they said, and I was explaining to them the hole in a bob that's always like in this area is because of this hole on the head. Mm-hmm. Same thing with extensions. The ear takes up this whole section of the head over here. And so we've got from the top of the head to here. And then if they part the hair here and go over this way, you've got even less hair. So ladies are generally a little thinner on the sides because of ears. And then you cut a little bangs, you took a little more hair from the sides. And maybe you layered the top, you took a little more from the sides. Maybe you try to angle that Jennifer Anderson type of cut and just take out a little. You try to add a little texture and a little fun to the front, but you're also taking a lot of hair away. And they end up with so little hair on the sides compared to the back, it's thin. So then what do? You try to add a little. And so if you can put 5 little strands, 10, you know what? 1 or 2 on each side makes a difference. My stylist did this challenge I gave them, and it's sad that hairdressers can't just keep doing these things themselves without a boss sometimes pushing them. It was so successful. I'm ripping on my own stylist right now because I made them for 1 month. RJ was like, how can we get them to do this? How can we get them to do this? And I said, we make them. He goes, what? I said, we're going to make it mandatory. What do you mean? I said, like a coach. I mean, it's going to be like, do it, or you're off the team. I mean, it's that important. So the challenge was put 1 strand, I don't care what extension technique you have, put it on a client, on every single client you do every day for 1 month. So for 30 days. And they're like, everybody? What about the men? Yes, the men too. What about the kids and the babies? Yes. Now you got some mamas that are like, you're not putting an extension on my 3-year-old. Okay, Mom, but maybe, please, can we just try? And so here's the deal. You wouldn't believe the full heads of extensions and the partial heads and the thickenings that came out of this. We've got full jobs out of it, but then the next month, nobody did it anymore. They actually got clients from it, some of them, and they couldn't see the power in continuing to do it so that marketing would work. But listen to some of the wild, crazy stories that happened. A man, I said, put it on the men too. Encourage them to take pictures. Make it stupid and fun and just ridiculous, like on your head right now. I put a red or green piece. I put it in and I take it out. But you know what he wants to do? He wants to take a picture. He wants to make fun of himself. He wants to send it to his wife, his girlfriend, his mom. Say, Mom, look, I'm getting extensions. Oh, you better not, honey.
Or, right.
or put it in the back, in the center. Yeah, you got a rat tail off to the side or whatever. And just have fun. Send it to your friends. But do you know the conversations it made in his life, at home, on social media, on Facebook, in the salon? The other clients are like, what the hell is he doing? It just caused so much communication about hair extensions that it forced it to just be in the forefront of everybody's mind. So if anybody even thought about it, they were bringing up the conversation. They were talking about it. And I know that we did at least 2 full heads of extensions because of this program in our salon that 1 month. So that would be my challenge to any hairdresser out there. Think about the small jobs. If you've got a weft, this is just like 1 weft all the way around. You could put that on a person's head. In a lot of cases, you could put that on somebody's head as a trial. Can't you just take it out if you've just got one?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just put it in. I mean, some techniques are faster than others, but if you've got the time, and you know what I'm saying is, this is how I gauged my days. I looked at my day when I came in the morning, and I personally handpicked the clients that I was going to have more time with. Now, this is every stylist is at a different level, right? So you look at your day, and we're all got different levels on different days. So you look at your day or you look at your week, and yeah, maybe I got 3 clients back to back. There is nothing extra happening on these ladies. Maybe I might not even have time to do anything they ask for extra without rescheduling or rebooking. But then you've got that one where you got an hour break after. What are you going to eat lunch? You loser. You don't eat lunch as a hairdresser. Loser. So
Yeah, if you got time to eat, you got time to do another single process or something, right? Get out of here.
look at the book, and if you've got 3 or 4 like 30-minute, 20-minute, hour breaks after some clients, those are the ones you target to do something different to, something added. You wax their eyebrows, their nose, their ears. You tuck them into highlights. You put an extension in on them. I mean, this is just basic marketing 101. But if you're going to push hair extensions, which most people that are watching this channel are, that's when you say, hey, I got 45 minutes after you today. I want you to see what it feels like to have a weft in. And it can just be a shorter one. And this is where the magic of this whole situation comes in that most people don't think about. You don't have to get the color right when you're not lengthening hair. When you have hair here and you're going with longer hair, yes, there's a blend line. It doesn't blend. But when you have hair and you're just thickening, what is it called? Dimensional color, highlights, lowlights. It's adding a color, lighter or darker. You don't have to get the color right. And if it's just on the sides, well, then it's, what do we call that when you just add some color around the face?
What, framing?
Yeah. The word
Accenting?
Yeah. What was that word that you would say?
I can never say it there. What is it? The money piece? I don't know. Money shot, money piece, money something.
I think it's called the money piece, and now you got me confused. I think you were calling it the money shot, and somebody was saying, no, that's the porn industry. Money piece is the hair industry. Now I don't know which one's which, but the money something. I don't know why they call it that.
Show
but
me
something
the money,
about,
right? It's something.
Yeah, something about framing the face with a different color is the money something. I think the money piece. Now we're going to have to look it up, and I don't know.
Yeah, you good luck. You look it up. I don't even see what shows up on your browser. Here's another thing. You know, the power of not having to do a full head. How many times have we done a fundraising and just with one strand, 2 strands, you get a $10 or $20 donation? We have raised millions of dollars.
That's true.
Millions of dollars on clients who would never normally be a candidate or want to wear extensions for their own reasons. Forget about for our reasons, right? And now I was at the salon on Saturday, and you know, we colored the one client in particular. We did the bottom black, we did the top half red. It's a, you know, she's trendy. It's very fun. And then after, when we wash her hair, we blow dry styled it and all that good stuff. She went and chose a purple and a blue, a purple and a blue extension, and she put it right behind her ear. So
it just shows in here.
Yeah, just so it shows through on the side like that, right? And then I can't tell you how many times I'll do an extensions, and especially right now I'm thinking of one stylist, one client in particular. Anytime I have a leftover strand, she goes, "Oh, just shove it in my hair." I'm like, "Woman, there's no room left. Yeah, you know, right here. It's always right here for 2 reasons. Beautiful. And the 2 number 1 reasons is when they go to pull their hair up, they always have a couple of shorter hairs from their nape that always kind of hang down. So by putting a couple of strands in there, it helps grab those hairs. The second reason is when they go to curl their hair, every time they curl the back of their head right behind their ear, there's always that one curly, kinky, you know, the curly Sue hair. I don't know what it's called. but like that one random hair off the nape that just hangs there, right? So same
Yeah.
thing, putting in that one or two strands fills in right behind the ear. So there's always like, yeah, we're always talking about the front, when we're talking about not doing a full head and just doing one pack, we're always talking
Yeah.
about filling in the face framing and the bangs. Oh, actually, that's another thing. We didn't really talk about the bangs, just putting it in right, like right through the front there where we normally never, like we always say, don't ever put extensions on the
On the
bangs
top of the
on
head.
the top of the
Yeah.
head.
I like what you're saying here. The shoot that we did recently, one of the things I like about right here is you can kind of, I'm keep pointing on my head, but I should point on here, is going right down the side here, anywhere along here or close to this hairline here. What's cool about that is if you put it just behind the hairline, you can put the person's hair in a ponytail and not see it. So I like to call that, like, I don't know, the professional's wild streak. A nurse who may, I mean, everybody gets wild hair these days, but a nurse who maybe can't or doesn't want to look unprofessional or wild at work keeps her hair in a ponytail all day because she's got to keep her hair out of the medical field or whatever, and they got the cap on. But then when she lets her hair down at night, it shows here over the shoulder if it's a little past the shoulders. So she's got a little bit of pink, blue, green, highlight, low light, whatever. It'll show a little bit more when the hair's down. Let your hair down, but when her hair's up or in a ponytail, it hides it. So that's what I think is kind of cool about back here, because on the sides with the bangs, it's going to show all the time. But back here, you can decide when you want to show it. And that's what I love about that.
My other one spot that I go to all the time is like, let's say, for example, so I part my hair this way, right? So whichever side, whichever the heavy side is, wherever the hair is coming over the most on, right from the, what do you call that? The arch of the eyebrow. Come straight up, and right in there, put 5 strands right there. And what ends up happening is if you put them right next to each other, side by side, it makes a nice chunk of contrasting color. If you leave a little space, then it makes it like a highlighted effect. And it works amazingly, especially on blondes. You take a darker contrasting color, or the opposite. You take a redhead or a brunette and you take a way lighter contrasting color. And then this way, it's an instant highlight without having to go through the pain of bleaching, toning, keeping it refreshed, making sure it doesn't bleed into the other hairs next to it and all that good stuff.
Well, that's a great point because it's so fast and easy, and you see the color and you just put it right in. There's no shampooing, blow drying. It's just quick and easy. Let's talk about the business side of it for a minute before we end here, because the power of this, first of all, you don't have to plan it, market it, or sell it. It should be some leftover hair that you have around the office. It doesn't have to match perfectly in color, so you don't have to match the color, order the hair, get a deposit. You just have a little hair there and say, let's do it. You just do it, whether you're doing it for free or you're getting money for it. You decide. If you're just doing it for free, you take it right back out. Or you put it in, get some pictures, put it on your social media and use it for marketing and advertising and tell them you're taking it out next time. If they love it, then they can keep it in and pay for it then. There's so many ways you can turn this into money. But if you can turn these few extra strands you have around the shop into money, not having to match the color is the easiest reason you can just do it. But then the money, you can fit it in a time situation too. You don't have to book out. Even the quicker extensions that only take an hour. When you're doing this, it's more like 10 or 15 minutes. You're just
if even 10 or 15 minutes.
Right. You're popping this stuff in so fast that you can easily charge an extra $100 to $200 or $300, depending on your market. I mean, another $100 is nothing to add some thickness to somebody's sides really quickly. But it's not just thickness. It could be color and dimension and thickness all at the same time. But then, what if you did that 10 times during the week? Say you're doing 7 or 8 clients a day and you could turn 1 or 2 a day into these few strands. Well, do you know what you did at the end of that week? If you did 10, you basically put a full head of extensions in during that week, only you did it on 10 different people or 12 different people. It could be a month, it could be a week, whatever. But now you've done essentially a full head of extensions on multiple people. If you did a full head of extensions on just Bridget here, and then 4 months later, 2 or 3 months later, you're saying, Bridget, you ready for your new extensions? What does she say? Maybe, maybe yes, maybe no, maybe I lost my job, maybe I don't like it anymore, maybe I can't afford it. But when you got all of these ladies back here with just a little bit each, what are the chances that 10 different people are going to say, no thanks, not this month, and you're going to lose all 10? Very small.
No.
So to me, it's a more solid business. It's like renting out an apartment complex instead of renting out a single house. You rent out a house, you lose the renter, but you're paying on that note. You're paying the note, and you're hoping the renter is paying you so you can pay the note. So eventually you'll have a rental income when you pay the house off. But if you got a fourplex and you've got 4 people renting, hopefully the note is covered by maybe just 2 of them. One renter moves out. You still got 3 people paying rent. You got one empty. You remodel it, you refill it, you get it rented again. You never lost 100% of the income. You just lost a fourth of the income. So with 10 clients, you lose 1 or 2. You still got 80% of the money. You try to replace them before you lose another one. You lose one. You lose
now
one.
You're just showing off what you could do. You could do all that with your fingers. How are you doing that with your fingers?
I was trying to make sure I didn't end up with the wrong fingers up and the wrong fingers down. That was the main
one finger of all. Yeah, right. To rule them all. So, and then here's my take on it too. Adding in a strand or 2 of extensions really does complete the service. And what do I mean by that is when you do hair color, we do a deep conditioning service afterwards. And that could be anywhere as low as 10, 15, 20 bucks, all the way up to 45, 50, $60, depending on what kind of deep conditioner you do. Adding in 2, 3 strands of hair, 1, 2, 3 strands of hair, you can charge an extra 15, 20, 30 bucks on top of your, now your $30 blow dry became $40, $50, $60 blow dry. Your $70 haircut now became an $80, $90, $100 haircut, and whatever everybody charges. I don't know what people charge, everywhere, all over the place. But the point is, it completes a look. It gives something different. It keeps you moving and busy in the salon, and it's other people see and other people talk. That is the greatest. To this day, word of mouth advertising is still the number one client building thing that we have, right? It's still right ahead of social media. And social media advertising has come leaps and bounds.
Listen, Gary Vaynerchuk said word of mouth is still the number one way to market your business. But you know what? Social media is word of mouth.
It's word of mouth too.
It's the extension of the word. It's a different way of doing word of mouth. Our friends are not only physically in front of us.
I'm saying for free. I'm not saying like posting on there, like, you could boost posts and you could do advertising and paying for types.
But by you posting pictures and talking about your work, that is still word of mouth.
That's a word of mouth. Yeah. Because they're sharing it and their friends see it and other people follow.
So let me. You reminded me of something that I think more than just the extensionists on this channel can get something out of, and hopefully these people stayed on long enough to see and hear this, because I think this is probably one of the most powerful things of this video right now. It's what taught me how to do what I'm talking about right now. In the early days of doing hair, I started getting to a comfortable place. Like finally, I'm supporting the family. I'm full of services almost every day, and I'm thinking, how do you make more money when you're already booked solid, mostly solid? And here's where I looked for the holes in the schedule. You know where the holes was color processing. I was having color processed for somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes. And during that 30 minutes, nothing was happening. And it was an accident. Somebody asked me, can you highlight my hair while my color's processing? And I thought, maybe. I didn't, this was probably 15, 20 years ago. And I thought, you know what? I probably can. This was 20 years ago. So she goes, what would that cost? And I said, I just did 4 or 5 highlight foils on top and called it $30. And so I started doing that 3 or 4 times a day. Mm-hmm. This time of year, right now, I started saying, instead of them asking, somebody asked me, I can't take full credit and say, oh, I made up this great idea. No, I just took a good idea and then propelled it forward. And so then the next client comes in, then I'm doing any color, light brown to dark brown, color on gray roots. And I said, hey, it's springtime. You want to add just a couple of sun-kissed highlights on the top of your head like you've been out in the sun already, even though you haven't yet? What do you mean? I said, I'm just going to throw a few highlights in there. First thought was, these highlights are not going to go all the way to the scalp because I'm coloring roots. So what? It was the original rooted, ombre-ish, balayage, color melt, whatever word you want to use. But what I did was, after I got the color on the roots all over the whole head, I went and mixed a little bit of bleach, 20, 30, or 40 volume, depending on how fast I needed it to work and how dark the hair was, usually 30 volume. And I didn't care what color it came out. It was just a little lighter. I didn't promise white, platinum, no yellow, no gold, no orange, blonde. I said, we're just going to add a little bit of highlighted dimension, whatever. Look, it's all about the words. Whatever lighter color your hair likes. It's just going to naturally happen as if the sun was on your hair and you got lightened, like you're getting a little bit of a tan out there. I'm just going to pull a little few bleach through a few little pieces up here. You could freehand it, you can foil it, and I would just foil, boom, boom, just 4 or 5 down on each side, maybe 1 or 2. I mean 2 or 3 on each side, and then 1 or 2 in the back, and charge an extra $30. Now I'm doing this 3 or 4 times a day. I was adding another $100, $200 a day to my income. Talk about a good couple of weeks and months. Then I got used to that income, and that's when I thought, now I got to do something new and different. And that's when I kind of went into extensions, and other services. But add a few highlights right now. It's summer. It's springtime. That's the first way.
It's the perfect time to do it. So then let's do it this way. So we're looking for comments. We're looking for a survey. What is it about your strands versus your one doing a pack or 2 versus doing full heads? Yeah. Is it really the timing? Is it really the cost? Is it really not having the clients, or you don't know how to tell it to the clients? Right?
Do you prefer full heads? Do you prefer partials? Why do you love the extensions you use? And why wouldn't you change, or would you change? I just kind of want to know people's opinions.
Yeah.
I think we can wrap it up here. I think we said everything we can say.
That's the challenge. And then the other challenge is, okay, like you did to your staff. Go for it. What are we? We're the 24th of May. So let's revisit this in June, a month from now, and let's see, what have people done?
Put a strand on every single client for fun and just take it right back out.
There you go.
Use the same strand all day long. Thank you, guys. See you next week.
We'll catch you next week, everybody. Thanks for watching.